So in the series Wednesday, you can see that Nevermore Academy sign in that old kind of Victorian style lettering, that gothic style on the gate there in the front. And so naturally, we need to try to make our own design just like that using Kittl. And if you don't have Kittl yet, go ahead and sign up using the link down in the description. It's super easy. You don't have to download anything. You can just start right in your browser. And I think we're going to have a ton of fun making this kind of metal sign style design. So let's get started right now. All right, here's the quote we're going to use. Believe nothing you hear and half of what you see was referenced earlier on in the show. They also commonly nod to Poe ever so often. Now I have some fonts over here on the right that I think are going to work with this quote. By the way, if you hit W, that's the trim view to turn off and see everything across your board. Now, what we want to do is try to find something that is going to work in this kind of dark Victorian style because we're making a metal sign looking design. So what I'm going to do is pick this one called headstock. I really like this one because of how the tops and bottoms are kind of sharp. You see the flat points there. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and type out the whole quote right here. So I'm just going to duplicate and have each of these as separate text boxes. So I'm not just hitting enter and placing these all on a separate line because I want the ability to move every single one of these. For example, now I can go in here and I could just move these around. I don't have to have it all in one whole text box. I'm sure you could do something like that, but my personal suggestion would be just go ahead and make each line a separate text box. It's going to give you a lot easier time to try to deal with. Now, I'm just moving these around to get them where I want them. I'm going to add our author name down here at the bottom, of course, because we want that attached to this metal sign graphic that we're making here. Now, what we're going to do to attach these is just add one of these bars here. And of course, we need to change the color because right now it's not the same color. It kind of comes in as an off black a little bit lighter than black. So let's go over here, change it, and then what we're going to do is just go through and add these bars because this kind of metal sign work that you would have seen there at the beginning, the Nevermore Academy kind of gated sign, it's all connected, right? It has to be cut all of the same way. And so making a graphic like this, we want to place these bars in places that will connect all of these pieces of text. Now what we can do is we can go and find flourishes to make it more elaborate, to give it that Victorian feel. So over here in thin flourishes, what we're going to do is choose a couple of them that we think will highlight different sections of the sign graphic here. Maybe there's spaces on the right, for example, where nothing is, and here, and just a couple different places where we want flourishes, like along the sides of these bars. So you can try and trial and error a couple of different types of these. I'm just going to click in a couple of different ones that I think will work with this Victorian style. And you really shouldn't have a problem if you're staying in this category. They're all already really well done and ready for this type of thing. Now, what we're going to do is pick a couple, make them all black, and then what I need to do is focus on this one and show you a little trick. Now, obviously, this is super thin. However, if I just go over here and add border weight, then I change the color to the same color, now it looks like it actually does fit with the rest of the thickness, right? It fits with the letters, it fits with the bars that are connecting those letters like a metal sign would behave, and then you can just move these all around. And so that's what we're gonna do with the rest of these flourishes, is just go ahead and try to align these where we think works well. And then as we are lining these flourishes up in sections that we think make sense, we can make them the same boldness so that they fit with the rest of the sign here. Now you just want to be careful and make sure things are connecting, like the top of the G there, the bottom of the G here is connecting with parts of this flourish, so that if you are actually going to cut this with some sort of software and make actually a really cool sign, you need to make sure that things are connected together. We want this to be one whole piece. You don't want to waste, either material or get through half your cut and realize there's an error or something. Of course, you could just do this as a sticker graphic too. You'd have no problem. It would look super cool like that. Or maybe as a book cover or something, that could also really be cool. Hey, real quick, if you're getting value out of this sign style graphic tutorial, let me know by hitting the thumbs up button and hitting the red subscribe button. Then let me know in the comments, what do you think about the Wednesday series? Are you enjoying it? Were you ready for it? Is it not quite your thing? Are you expecting it to get even better? I would love to hear your thoughts. Also, of course, if you like this style of design, this kind of dark graveyard Victorian style, I would love to know if you like that as well. But hey, let's get back to the tutorial. Now, what we're going to do is duplicate this line. You can hold the Alt or Option key and drag straight lines like this, or any object, honestly. And what we're going to do is give it this feel that everything is connected, right? That's what we want. We want this metal sign style, this Victorian style signage. And so what we need to do is start connecting our letters here in the middle, or basically the tops of each letter, to make it look like this metal sign was cut correctly. And so what we need to do is duplicate this basically a ton of times and make it look like all of these letters are connected like this. Now, this is going to take you a little bit of time. It's going to be a little bit of tedious. Now, depending on the length of your words and the length of your quote, obviously that's going to narrate the amount of time that you put into this, but I'm just going to speed up through this process so you don't watch me do this 100 times. But you can kind of see what I'm doing here is I'm playing with a couple different things to make sure it makes sense. As a viewer would see how this sign would be connected to all of these letters. Otherwise, the letters would be just hanging in space and they won't work, right? Of course, the capital letters are attached to the bars, but we need to connect these middle layers to the bars themselves, like an actual sign or a gate or something like that would behave. A metal sign, of course, an older one. And so once we get to the bottom of this and we're feeling pretty good about it, what I think I'm going to do is go over into the elements, and I'm going to look for a raven. Of course, very, very fitting. I like this one. It's nice and spooky looking. The feathers are kind of lifted a little bit. And then all we need to do is basically just make this a little bit smaller and perch it right here, because I think there is a nice little bit of space here to the right of nothing that we can play with. And so let's make it the same color, of course. And then we can move him around with the bottom rotate tool there to make it look like it makes a little bit more sense. Now, you could go crazy with that. You could add a whole bunch more if you want. I'm just adding the one little crow. Now, let's change this. I'm going to give it kind of an off-whitish color. Of course, you're going to do something like a sticker. You don't really need a background color. You can just turn it off. But I am also going to give it this grunge texture to make it look even more kind of graveyardish, to give it a little bit of spookiness, I guess. And then after that, we're pretty much done. So here is the final graphic that you see, just a little bit bigger, a little bit easier for you to see. So I hope that you have a ton of fun kind of coming up with your own metal sign style design. Now, if you want to see other tutorials using Kittl, I have these videos here on my right that I know you're going to enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any upcoming videos and features and things like that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.